in 2001, when my second death experience, which lasted a lot longer, I was going through a breakup at the time. Let's see, I lived in Texas, in San Antonio, and some friends and I were going tubing down the Guadalupe River for a friend's birthday. It was her birthday. And what they did was they hauled us into a little school bus, the little short school buses. They packed us all onto the school bus to shuttle us to the river. And the bus was pulling a trailer with our ice chests and our inner tube. So it was one of those trailers you see where they carry lawnmowers and things like that. It was about medium-sized trailer. And on the way back, we had a really good day. It was awesome. Had a fun time down the river. It was the weather was perfect. It was a good day. There was, I think, 6 or 7 of us. I can't remember. But as we're getting onto the bus to go back to our car, I get on with my friends and I see that the bus is full. And so something told me, I should get off and wait for the next one. But the people on the bus were going, oh, come on, come on back. You can stand. So I was up against the back door of the bus and my friends piled on after me. So we're all standing in the aisleway. Some are, we're kind of just crushed onto the bus. And as the driver is driving down the road, he's going through these gears and the bus is going like that. And as he's moving, driving away from a red light, he's in second gear. So he's probably up to 25 miles an hour. And the back door pops open and I fall out of the bus. And I remember it all. I land on the trailer hitch and I bounce off the trailer hitch and land on the pavement underneath the trailer that he's pulling. The trailer runs over my head and my body. And when the trailer ran over my head, I popped out of my body again. And I'm looking down. I'm looking as I'm, floating up there. I'm like, oh, okay, well, did that again. And I'm thinking, I'm looking down at my body and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, we had such a good time. And here I go and die on my friends. This is really going to ruin their day because I don't feel any type of grief or sadness or anything like that. I know I've done this thousands of times. I know that, all right, well, this is over. So this is how it ends up. But I feel really bad for my friends. And then I start thinking about my family. My mom was still here and my stepfather had died in 98 and who I was really close to. And so I'm thinking, oh gosh, God, that's going to be bad on my mom. Because I helped her a lot. And then I'm thinking of my boyfriend at the time. I'm thinking, oh, he'll be fine. I don't have to worry about him. I'm thinking, oh, my sister, yeah, it's really going to be bad on her, because we're just the two of us. And so I'm thinking about my family, but I'm like, okay, well, I'm home. I'm just going to turn around again. So I turned around and I saw my stepfather. My stepfather was there and he met me first and I could see what looks like a tunnel, but I know it's a portal behind him. And he's telling me, my stepfather is telling me, and he looks the same, but a lot younger. And because he died when he was in his 70s. And I recognize him right away. And he's communicating with me. And he's telling me, you'll have, your mom is going to need you and you still have things to do. He's telepathically telling me that. And I'm like, what? But I don't want to go back. This time I didn't want to go back. The first time I did, I'm okay with that. But this time I'm like, no, because this was in 2001. So I'm going to give away my age. I was in my 40s at that time. So it's like, okay, I've done enough. But he goes, no, you know, he let me go. So I started moving down into the portal. And what I see are these people on both sides of this portal or this tunnel. And I recognize them as I'm moving down the tunnel as being relatives or part of my soul groups of, you know, on my mother's side and on my father's side, and there are people in there that I don't recognize in this lifetime, but I recognize there because I know them from my soul groups. So I'm moving down this portal, and then as I'm moving down, and they're you know, they're like nodding at me and smiling. I don't really hear them telepathically. I don't recall it hearing anyone's communicating with me, but I do see, except for my dad, but I do see a huge bright light off in the distance, which is like a sun. And it's more, I mean, it's more beautiful. Words can't describe. If anyone's had any experiences like this, you know, words can't describe it. So it's like you're looking at the sun, but it doesn't hurt your eyes. It's just so gorgeous. And I recognize this portal, and I always get emotional. And then I see this being coming out of this portal of light, this huge sun. And I recognize him again as Yeshua. And this time I just fly to him. I just fly, and he embraces me, and I just feel like I'm melting into him. And I recall, this is what I recall the most, was his laughter. It was just so healing for me. And I'm getting goosebumps talking about it. And it was just so healing to hear him, to hear his voice, and to hear him, and the welcoming of his arms and his energy. And I tell him I don't want to go back, and I just hear him chuckle. You know, he doesn't really say, "Well, you have to," or anything like that. He just kind of chuckles, and he asked me if I want to take go on a journey with him. And I'm like, sure, of course. Who's going to say no to that, right? So he takes my hand, and we're flying. I don't know, you know, it just feels like we're flying. And anyone who's had out-of-body experiences, there's a thing called an astral wind, where it feels like you're moving, but you're something is pulling you or drawing you somewhere, and that's what it felt like. And so we're moving, and I feel like I just know intuitively that we're in the cosmos. Okay? And I just see all these lights going past me, and what comes into sight is what looks like a planet, but it's a water planet. And he's intuitively telling me this is where you have come from. This is where you can go back to once you complete your mission here on Earth. And so I'm, and I realized then that I'm, when we're all kind of water beings, but that's where I have the most joy, is on that planet as a water being, a mermaid, whatever you want to call it. And so he takes me there, and I have these experiences of being with my family as a water being on this water planet. And I have a mate, and I have children, and it's extremely emotional even thinking about it now, because of all the love that we have there. And it's just so different than here. We're fluid. It's all about connection, and the love is, I'm not saying we don't love here. It's just it's tangible. Yeah. And, and when when we're finished, and he's taking me through through these memories of being this water being and communicating with my husband, my mate on that planet, and it was, I don't know how long I was there. I won't, bore you with any more details, except for the fact that I didn't want to leave. I did not want to leave. I wanted to stay there. And that's when he had to coax me, right? And he's like, well, he's as he's communicating with me, and it's kind of without words, really. It's without words. He's telling me, you can always come here. You can always come here, which I spent a lot of time doing after my near-death experience, and that was really hard. But after that experience, and it's hard to put things in linear time as I'm going through these experiences. I remember as we're coming back and experiencing what we would call the light, being in the light. A lot of people talk about this, and I don't know, I can't put it in linear time exactly when I was in the light. I just know that I was there at one point during this experience, whether it was the whole time or when I first met Yeshua or when I was coming out. I don't know. I just remember being there in the light and in God's light. I feel very strongly God's light. And the experience is more than we can imagine, where if I was smiling so wide that if I was in physical form, my face would have broken. Because that's how I was just filled with joy and filled with so much love and joy and acceptance and peace. It was palpable. It enveloped every cell or a part of me. I was part of the light. I knew then I was home. I knew that there was nothing that I could do or say or think that would keep me from being in the light.